Are you a senior who's thinking of moving? And when I say senior, I don't mean a senior in high school or a senior in college. I'm talking about people who are over 55 years old. Well, if that's the case, then this video is for you. Navigating the real estate market. I'm going to give you 10 tips for seniors if you're thinking about moving to a new home or a new town or a new market. My name's Dawn Dickinson. I am a realtor in the state of Arizona. I sell real estate primarily in Sedona, Verde Valley, Flagstaff, and Prescott area, but this video is for anybody in the United States who's thinking of moving, buying, or selling in the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years. Even if you're not thinking about it right away, I want you to watch the video because I'm going to give you tips that will come in handy down the road and help you make the decision that's right for you and your family when it comes time to move or buy or sell a home. So the first thing that's very important is that you explore your options. That's probably what you're doing right now, getting information on what might be great for your situation. Do you want to downsize? Do you want to move into an area that's a 55 plus community where you're near other people that are your own age? Do you need to move into assisted living, or do you want to move into assisted living? I know we moved my mother in assisted living back in 2020 where she actually wanted to. She's like, I want to move into one of those assisted living places where there's all sorts of things to do, and they bring you meals and they clean your house and have a cute little apartment. So maybe assisted living is the way to go. Or do you want to move into an area where you own your place, but there's still lots of activities for seniors and things to do and amenities? So just explore your options is a great way to start, even when you're not quite ready, but you're thinking you might do something in the next couple of years. Okay, number 2 is very important. It's to do your financial planning. So I'm not a financial advisor, so at this point I want to say I recommend you talking to a financial advisor or your own financial advisor. But the things that you're going to want to consider are if you are buying a home, for instance, and you have cash, do you want to take out a mortgage and save your cash, or would you rather pay cash for the thing and then you don't have a mortgage? And then if you do that, maybe if you don't pay cash, you could use the cash to put in an annuity to supplement your retirement, or if you don't pay cash, you could get an reverse mortgage. So all these types of things to consider financially, you're going to want to talk to a financial advisor. Now, if you want to talk about things about what kind of taxes do you have, property taxes in areas you might be wanting to live in, or what kind of HOA fees, is there a land lease fee, for instance, if you're moving into a retirement mobile home park, what kind of maintenance fees are they? That is a type of information that you could get from your realtor, which will aid you in making what's the best decision for you. Also, if you want to sell your current home and use that money to supplement your retirement rather than buying a new home, maybe you'd want to rent instead, maybe you want to move in with your kids, those types of financial things, again, consult your financial advisor. But if you want to get information on living expenses, how costly are homes in a certain area, what are HOA fees, what are your options in that regard, then talk to your local real estate agent. Third thing you're going to want to think about is right sizing. And when I say right sizing, most of the time you're going to say downsizing, because you might have a big home. You might have the home that you raised your family and you're still in it, and you're thinking maybe I should sell this home and buy a smaller home. Or maybe you're in a medium-sized home and you're like, let me just forget it and sell this house and buy a smaller condo, or maybe a park model or a single wide in a mobile home park. So considering what kind of size, like how much stuff do you have that you would have to get rid of to right size your home. The other thing is maybe you don't want to downsize. Maybe you want to upsize, and then you could have your adult children move in with you and share some of the expenses, or maybe get a bigger home and then you could have a roommate. Maybe you've got your best buddy, your best girlfriend, or your best guy friend that you've been friends with for 30 years, and you're both thinking about selling your big homes, and maybe you'd want to buy something in between that you could both move into and share expenses. So right sizing, figuring out what the best size home is for your next move, is an important thing for you to explore. Number 4, very important, is location. So location, there's a couple of factors that are going to be considered here. First is, do you want to stay close to your kids, or do you want to stay close to your family, or do you just want to move and get a brand new terrain, a brand new environment to kind of reset your life in your golden years? Do you want to move out to the country, or do you want to move into the city and then you could ditch your car and walk to grocery stores and that kind of thing? I remember when I first started real estate back in 2016, the big thing that they were predicting is that all the baby boomers were going to sell their homes in the suburbs and move into the city so that they could enjoy the city life and the carefree, having everything close by. That didn't really happen because COVID came and kind of reset everything, and things went nuts. But that's a possibility. Maybe you would want to move into the city. The other thing is maybe you just want to leave the city or leave the place that you raised your family and go someplace that you've never thought you could live before. Like recently, I took a trip to Hawaii and I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. I'd love to live here. Maybe I could retire here. Or maybe you'd want to move out of the country to someplace like Costa Rica and become an expat. So think of those things. Where do you want to be? The other thing you might want to consider is climate. Say you grew up in Flagstaff, Arizona, very close to where I live, and it's just so cold there in the wintertime. You get a lot of snow that maybe you want to move someplace warmer, move someplace more tropical, and get away from the cold. So what kind of climate are you comfortable in it? Or maybe you love the cold and you're tired of living like a lot of people. I come from Phoenix, so it's so hot there that maybe you'd want to leave Phoenix and go someplace cooler. Like I moved to Sedona, which is cooler than Phoenix, but not super cold like Flagstaff. So the climate, the location, the terrain, what do you like to look for? City, country, retirement, tropical, all those kind of things. That's very important that you consider those. The other thing is, do you want to be close to shopping and the YMCA and the Elks Lodge and all these kind of things to do activities for? So keep all those things in mind when you're thinking about moving to a new city or a new town or even a new state. Number 5, a very good thing to be thinking about is the safety and security of the neighborhood that you're about to move into. Some parts of the state are safer than others. Some communities within a city are safer than others, and even some retirement communities might be safer than the general public. You're going to have to do your research on that. Now, I have 2 websites that I often look about for safety information. One is called niche.com and one is bestplaces.net, where I research a lot of the towns. I actually have some videos out there on the safest places to live in Arizona, if you're considering Arizona, or the most dangerous places to live in the state of Arizona. So you might want to check out those videos. I could put a link to them so you could find them more easily. So look at the crime statistics where you're going. Now, if you're in a very small town, you might not have that much data available. For instance, I live in Sedona, Arizona, a very small town. Very hard to find safety and crime statistics in Arizona because it's such a small town. A lot of the times you'll see it rolled up to the county, but yet I know Sedona's very safe and I feel very safe here. So it might just be like the vibe if you know someone that lives in the community, but definitely do your research on how safe an area is before you move into it. So number 6 is the design and layout of the new home that you're about to purchase. I recommend having a single-story home if you are over 55, but there's other things that would consider, like, is it a single story, but yet you have stairs to get into from the outside? And if you are in a climate where it's cold and icy in the wintertime, you could worry that the stairs could get ice and that you could slip and fall out just getting in and out of your home. The other thing is there a garage with stairs? Like sometimes the house is flat, but yet you've got stairs to get into the property because it's a little bit elevated. The other thing is if you're in a 2-story house already, saying you're considering swapping it out only because you don't like the stairs, while I think it's great if you could have a 1-story house, that might not be the most cost-effective thing for you to do. Like maybe you should check out one of those companies that install those little chair lifts to go up the stairs. Maybe that would be a way to stay in your home without having to make a big move and, you know, sell your house, buy a new one, move all your stuff, pack all your stuff. So consider your options. Of course, if you're buying new, I would recommend a 1-story. But the other thing is, like, is there stairs to get into it? Is there stairs to get into the garage? One other thing that I'd like to point out is I have a townhouse in Chandler, That's my second home. And the thing that drives me crazy is it's a long ways from my parking space to the actual unit. So if I'm fine right now, but if I was 20 years from now, it might be hard for me to walk all that way to get to the car. What is the biggest pain right now is if I come home with a carload of groceries and I've got 8 bags, I have to walk all the way into the center of the complex. Now, what was attractive about the center of the complex is like you're not hearing the cars park all day, and I have a nice courtyard that I look out on. But if you could get a place, say, that has the parking space or a carport right there in the unit, or maybe even a garage. That's what I would love. I would love a garage attached to the unit, but I'm not quite there right now. But the accessibility to get to from your car to the unit, and of course the layout, and if it's a single story, those are the type of things you want to look for in your next home. Number 7 is, are you desiring a sense of community, or would you rather be a little bit away from people and left on your own? Do you like the 55 plus kind of community where you're around people who are your own age? Do you want to be in an area where you think everybody is looking out for each other? You're probably not going to have that so much in the city unless you're in a complex or an area where you've got a little tight-knit community in the city. Do you want amenities? Do you want to be able to go to a community pool? Do you like shuffleboard? Do you like a clubhouse? Do you like a jacuzzi? That kind of thing. And then do you want some place that has planned activities for seniors? Do you want to go someplace where they offer art classes every week, or water aerobics, or Tai Chi? I do like Tai Chi. Do you want to be in a community where they occasionally have potlucks or have a community Thanksgiving event? Those types of things. So think about what kind of sense of involvement you want in the community, or if you're just the type that's a little bit of a loner and would rather be left alone. Now, number 8 is to think of the emotional aspects of moving. Like, you might not think of this at all, and this often happens. Like, you're all gung-ho, ready to go, you sold your house, you're packing, and then suddenly, wham, it hits you, you know, like, oh my gosh, this is the place where I raised my children. Or if you've been recently widowed or recently become a widower, now you're leaving the home that you used to spend time with your spouse with. It can be an emotional letdown to move away from that home. So prepare yourself emotionally. You might even want to talk to a counselor or a therapist if it's starting to bother you. Sometimes it's like, yay, it's the next chapter of my life, and you don't care. But you could experience this emotional whammo right as it's all done and you're ready to move, or even right after you've moved into the new place. So just prepare yourself that this could happen, and if it does, don't let yourself get depressed over it. Allow yourself time to work through it. And if you need to talk to somebody about the massive change that you just made and how to adjust to that better, make sure you allow yourself the room to do that. Number 9, super important, is find a place that is pet friendly if you like pets. Now, I don't think I could ever live without a pet. Sometimes there are places that only allow 2 animals, or they might say you can only have an animal that weighs less than 40 pounds. And if you have like 2 golden retrievers, for instance, you might not be able to live in that community. Or maybe you don't have them yet, but you're thinking of getting a golden retriever or a Labrador retriever. Make sure that those types of animals aren't restricted in the new home that you're about to move into. So the last thing to consider is finding a realtor, a real estate agent who understands the needs of senior citizens, somebody who, when you're out looking for home, it would be observant if they are able to identify things that could be a safety hazard, or if they know something about the community that maybe you wouldn't like. So somebody close to your age, or just somebody who has worked with people over 55 before and understands the needs that might be unique to you, that would be very helpful when you're thinking of buying a new home. So that's it. My name is Dawn Dickinson, the channel Living in Northern Arizona. I post videos about real estate every single week. If you have a question about buying or selling real estate in the state of Arizona, please feel free to go to the description below and find my contact information and give me a call, text, email. I would get back to you, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you back here again next week.